Eagles. Eagles.
And welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Today's show brought to you by the great people at Fritz Bianculli Law Firm. Give them a call today. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Tuesday morning, man? Plenty to talk about today, J-Mac. I see you're muted, so I don't want you to have the same fumble we had on a Monday morning. But plenty to talk about today, John. Howie news trickling out. You had teased some things that you wanted to talk about here on a Tuesday morning, and I think the people are about to find out what that is. John, how you doing on this Tuesday morning, my friend?
Stunned by my muting. I don't even know how that happens. So.
I know, John. You are not. I have not had that. We have not had that problem. Maybe up. You're muted again. Is that mic unplugging? I think the mic is unplugging, J-Mac. Let me see if I can get Johnny Max going here with this microphone. Apologize, everybody. I do want to welcome everybody in today. We got some great stuff going on JAKIB. Me and John are going to have obviously a great conversation about what's happening with Howie and Nick and their conversation. So we'll get into that today. I have a great promo that we're running right now. I want to let everybody know about. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it later in the show as well. But while John is getting set up there, I'll tell you real quick. We launched the promo yesterday. John, I know you can hear me right now. You won't find many deals. There you go. You won't find many deals better than this. We had 100 slots for this deal, and that's it. Once they're gone, they're gone. We have only 29 remaining, but you're going to get into the home opener with a full tailgate, full meals, full food, and everything for $100, and that's courtesy of our friends at Savvy Seats. They're doing a promotion with us, so we'll be doing that. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But the way to do it is you text Krause 267-261-3428. Text them Birds 365. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on in the show. J-Mac, you're with me now, my friend, for our Tuesday.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
you had that problem with the mic. What happens? The thing, the thing loosens all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird, I don't know what happened, but stay steady with it, and I think it should hold, J-Mac. I'm going to have to get you a new mic or a new cord or something, my friend.
All right, hopefully we'll carry on, but yeah, that is a good deal. $100 for all that for tailgating.
John, it's a kick-ass deal. I can't leave the house without spending $100.
It costs like $60 to park, doesn't it?
I mean,
yeah. So good deal for Eagles fans there. Be a lot of excitement. You're going to see a lot of news that comes out this morning where people paying attention. We got the opportunity to talk to Howie, Roseman, Nick Sirianni on Friday at the Jefferson Health Training Complex. I got to get used to that. No more NovaCare branding, although it's still up there. So we got a chance to talk to the GM and head coach, and a lot of interesting news coming out of it. A lot of interesting discussion, and some of it will be deemed as positive, I assume, and some of it people probably wouldn't like. And number one would be, the thought process that free agency is not going to be as splashy as, people like the big names. And we all know that. Number one, free agency, and I talked about this, not Howie Roseman related. It's just weak class. Everybody in the NFL is saying it. Weak class free agency to begin with. But the Eagles are in this sort of retention period. Because they've drafted so well. So their philosophy is to build in-house first. That's why I've been talking about the two biggest decisions, the two big pivotal decisions, 1A, 1B, however you want to describe them. A.J. Brown, Jaylen Phillips. If you keep A.J. Brown and if you keep Jaylen Phillips, it's probably going to be a pretty quiet offseason. The Eagles view that as splashy, keeping a player like Jaylen Phillips. Obviously, when you already have a player, fans think of it in a different way. And how we discussed that as well, talking about, you don't just shuffle the deck chairs because the guy's already here. He's the best guy in the market. If you re-sign him, that's the way you do it. So the retention, they want to keep as many of these players as they can You can't, and he admitted you can't keep them all, as already happened last year with Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. Likely to happen this year with Kobe Dean, at least, would be my speculation. But that's the plan. The plan is to draft well, develop well, re-sign your own players, and then sprinkle in some additions here and there. Now, always, as we saw last year with, now we know Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, like if there's a player, they'll move mountains, but understand if they have to add, if you add a player of that caliber, now this year it would be Max Crosby, then you got to do a lot of stuff to make sure it fits. You got to drop off some guys. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, no doubt. John, sounds like you guys had some good intel here from this meeting. You just mentioned a lot about Jaylen Phillips. We'll get into him as well. John, I want to start with what I think and what you have also called the biggest story, the biggest thing of the offseason that the Eagles will have to address, and that's A.J. Brown. So you spoke with Howie and Nick. They're going to speak again, I think, this week, right? You said on Friday.
Today. They're in Indy. They're going to talk in Indy today.
They're going to talk in Indy today. Okay, got it, for the combines. John, I got to hear. First off, your opinion. Your just the Johnny Mac feel. We can get into exactly what they said, but I just want to get your feel on what they said about A.J. Brown. Obviously, they're not going to come out and say one way or the other, oh, we're keeping A.J. Brown or we're getting rid of A.J. Brown. It's not that simple, and I understand that. But what is your feel after talking to Howie and Nick, about A.J. Brown and just the kind of general takeaway that you had after you spoke to them about that? And then we'll get into kind of the specifics of what exactly they said when it comes to A.J.
Well, I think, that's why I sort of went from 52-48 back to 53-47 gone, because I had talked to Howie by that point, but couldn't talk about it at that stage. But that was my feeling coming out of the discussion, only because you're right. You're not going to say we're going to trade him or we're going to keep him and put a period on it, but you can sort of read the body language, and it's easier to say the latter. It's easier to say, no, he's staying. He's here. He's under contract, especially in this type of situation.
Right.
Where obviously he's a 3-time second-team All-Pro player. He's got a contract that and it's not desirable to be traded right now. Especially in this situation, it would be easy to place a period on it from that standpoint. So to me, it comes across like they're playing the game. They're trying to get as much value as possible, which is understandable. And later, how he talked about it's his job to listen on everything. So he was pressed and said, will he be back? And Nick was as well. And everybody says the right things. But nobody would say 100% he would be back. And I'll listen to calls and things like that. It's typically not when you say what you say when you're talking about, like, if Jalen hurts, if the same thing popped up for some reason, they'd say, no, we're not going to,
Right.
period. And that wasn't there. So I think, and I don't know how other guys, there are about 15 guys, I guess, that were there, 15 guys and girls, but because I don't want to shortchange Olivia. Anybody else? No, I'm trying to think in my head, but so I don't know how everybody else is going to take it, but that's how I took it. So I still think, and I still think, but I still think more of it has to do with AJ than the Eagles. I do think the Eagles are not saying, well, we got to get this guy out of here. But I think their thought process is more of, this guy's not happy here. And if he's not happy here, and it's not about Philadelphia or the fans, because I know people, it's about the offense, and it's about how they play offense. And that's why you got to talk him into Sean Mannion and these things and the changes, and maybe it's doable. But if he truly wants out, and again, I use the Mike Tomlin quote, you don't want hostages, you want volunteers. And I think that's where the Eagles are.
Yeah, it sounds like it, John. Interesting takeaways there from you from the AJ Brown conversation with Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni. For those who don't know, Johnny Mack and the beat reporters had a chance to meet with those guys, talk to them for over 40 minutes, J Mac. So pretty good, lengthy discussion with the not the owner, excuse me, with the general manager and the head coach. They will speak more extensively here at the combines this week, so we'll hear from them a little bit more. I don't imagine they'll be as open as I'm sure they were off the record or behind the scenes with J Mac and company. But good takeaways there, John. They normally say we don't like getting rid of good players. We don't want to get rid of good players. Doesn't sound like you heard as much of that, which I do agree would insinuate that maybe the Eagles don't.
Well, he did. He did that part of it. I mean, Howie's been doing this for a long time, so he knows how to handle it. So, he did say basically that trying to pull up the quote.
The door is ajar, though, is the bottom.
Oh, yeah, the door's ajar, but he's playing the game. He's very smart, obviously, and he's very savvy. But what basically, and he said pretty consistently, we're not in the business of giving away good players and things like that. And from AJ's perspective, here's the exact quote. I think from my perspective, we're looking to improve in all areas, and you don't do that by subtracting. So, he knows how to play the game. And the first part of how you framed it to begin with is like, you're never going to say, we're going to trade this guy. We're going to, people might know it, but you're never going to come out and say that on the record.
Bad business. It's bad business.
Yeah, exactly. But the second part, whereas you can really cut down speculation over trades if you really, really want to. And when Howie got the question kind of pushed, he kind of paused and said, well, it's my job to listen to anything, which is right, too. It's not this guy. And I always bring up, the Saquon Barkley stuff on Hard Knocks where Joe Shane looked like what. That's why GMs don't want cameras when they're having these phone calls, when they're having discussions. So he is right, and that is his job. And if somebody calls about insert name, you might as well pick up the phone, because what if they're giving away Fort Knox?
Yeah, that's I mean, anybody should have
exactly. But I think logically people understand that, but when their favorite player's involved, they don't like it. So they don't want to hear that. But that's the reality of the situation. So. And again, I put out with AJ, everybody around this league, and I shouldn't say everybody, I should couch it. The vast majority of stories you hear from the national people like Diana and Ian and Yada are coming from outside the organization, in that everybody thinks, there, I said it again, a lot of people think they're going to trade AJ Brown.
Right. Because
these are the normal signs. When these things happen elsewhere, with normal receivers,
right, history would say that receiver's gone eventually, and
that's where it comes from. And they all think it. So if they think it, they're picking up the phone saying, "Look, what do you need? What do you want?" And even if he overshoots, and they say, "Yeah, we'll do that," it might not even be the plan, but he pivots. So part of it is correct to couch it that way, but he didn't shut it down. Is the overriding point I'm trying to make. He did not shut it down. And that is telling to me to shift the 50-50 to the negative side.
So the 53-40, does 53-47 remain? You're not going 56-44 on me today.
53, it could go in 53-47, straddling the fence, because that's where it is. That's where it is.
Yep, I think the Eagles.
And you're going to see a lot of stuff. I am going to pump up the show here, because if you've been listening to the show in the offseason, 1A, 1B, put them wherever you want. AJ Brown, Jaylen Phillips. You've known that for 2+ weeks. You're going to know it on the record today.
No doubt, John. You should pump up the show, man. You've been giving the people that. There's no doubt about it. Well done by you. Johnny Mac, moving into 1B, as you just mentioned. You mentioned 1B at the start of the show today. Let's get back into it a little bit more. I'm going to ask you the same question I did with AJ, John. Before we get into the details of what they said, exactly what was your feel? I like to get your feel because, I think you normally have a good perspective on what you heard and what kind of the reading between the lines says to you. What did the reading between the lines say to you on Jaylen Phillips? And I know you obviously know that they want to sign him. I'm more thinking, did you get an idea of where they might be put out of play? Did you get an idea of the money? What were some of your takeaways, your general feeling after talking to Howie and Nick about 1B free agent Jaylen Phillips?
Well, I definitely think they want him back. But similar to Milton last year, there will be a walk away number. And this is the interesting part because I talked to a couple of GMs over the past week. And obviously besides Howie, outside the organization. And for all the people, and we talk about valuations on this show, everybody talks about, these guys don't know. So it makes me feel better. Like, the Eagles had no idea that Milton Williams was going to get $26 million. Now, they knew he was going to get a lot, but they were stunned how high it went. So, and I talked to other guys as well, and they say similar things. So
seems like it's a sliding scale, John. Like the top of the free agents, they have like a.
It's supply and demand.
You just said something that I think people are going to stick on, which I don't think is true. In terms of they don't know, they know, but there's a free agency tax that it's impossible to gauge. It feels like.
Yeah, well, they have a no. They obviously they know. I hope people,
Yeah, you never know, Jay.
They have a better feel than anybody else, and Howie probably has a better feel than anybody else. But sometimes it goes, and it's usually at the top, but it's not always. Isaiah Rodgers would be in this category as well. Where the Eagles didn't read it completely correctly for a number of different reasons, but yeah, I mean, if somebody wants something, and the problem with Jaylen Phillips is it's a poor free agent market. He's the top guy. He's 26. And everybody needs edge rushers. That's like we just had a cyclone bomb of snow, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's like the perfect storm for 24 inches of snow. Jaylen Phillips is the perfect storm, with the exception of obviously injuries in his injury history. You take that out of the equation, perfect storm. So where's it going to go? Is it going to go to 20? Then I think the Eagles are fine. If the Eagles, is it going to go to 25 or 30? I've heard people say 30. Then the Eagles are not fine. I don't know. I don't know what the walkaway number is, and I have no idea where it's going to land. But this one could be, you're projecting 48 inches of snow, and you wake up and there's 1.5 feet. That's my comp for Jaylen Phillips. If it's 4 to 8 inches of snow, they're fine. If it blows up, they're not fine.
I'm starting to get the feeling, John, that thing's going way up. I mean, we talked about the valuation that they were putting on the website, Spotrac, and some of these other websites, and they're not always I mean, it's hard to do it. You just heard John say, even GMs don't. It's tough to get a gauge on what a player is going to get. So it's hard to do. But boy, that 17 starting to feel like a drop in the ocean, Johnny Mac, on because there's just not a lot of players out there. I mean, the supply and demand is just
free agency market is bad. It's bad.
Especially, by the way, when you get news, the Raiders are looking for a Micah Parsons size deal for Max Crosby. It's like, all right, I'm out on that. Jaylen Phillips just got that much more enticing at $24 million.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Raiders can ask for it. Doesn't hurt to ask. They're not getting Micah Parsons size deal, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And again, he's not a free agent, so the problem with Jaylen Phillips is you already gave up a 3rd round pick. Now Howie said that's not that big of a deal, and he brought up Golden Tate when he traded to Golden Tate. They won the double doink game in Chicago when he made that deal that year. And Golden won the game with the touchdown, ran the wrong route, but he won the game. And he was like, to win a playoff game, I'd give up a 3rd round pick every single time. Now they didn't win a playoff game, but his point was, that's why I brought up Golden Tate. His point was, look, I don't care. We thought the window was open.
Right.
And we thought, so he's not really taking that into account. But, from the standpoint of having given up that 3rd round pick, you don't get the player back. And then you got to go get a more expensive player and give up more draft capital. I don't, and Howie didn't talk about Max Crosby because he can't. But I just find that from my own personal thought process, I find that very un-Howie Roseman-like to do something like that.
I agree. We'll see what they end up doing. 1A, 1B. John, what else did they talk about here? A couple of the things that I personally want to hear from them, and I'm curious if you had a chance to talk about these things in your 40 minutes with them. I want to hear about Jeff Stoutland. I want to hear about the new coaching staff and what they're, some of what they said about the hiring of Sean Mannion, who has 0 play calling experience in the NFL. Who the departure of Jeff Stoutland, who really has been the architect of the great O-line for the past decade plus, and a big part of the reason they've been such a great run team. Now he's gone out the door. I think these are all really very relevant things that I'd like to hear. What did you hear from them on those topics?
Well, in the case of in the case of Sean Mannion, I'll start there because there's so much to get to, and all of that was addressed. And we'll get to all of that, so stay tuned. But in the case of Sean Mannion, I think a couple things stood out. Number one was that, look, Howie really pushed back on the idea that he's pulling the strings. Which I've been telling people for years he's not when it comes to the coaching staff. And he really, really pushed back on it. I'll be writing about that later this week. I wrote about Sean Mannion. So, look, Nick spoke about that, and it was the first question for obvious reasons. He interviewed 17 people for the job. And, he admitted he came in looking for certain things, most notably, although he didn't frame it that way, experienced play calling. That's why he heard a lot about Mike McDaniel, Brian Daboll. And then they got to Sean Mannion, and he used the exact term, which a lot of people didn't think he wrote when they hired him, and that he revealed himself. So basically, they're betting high on this guy. They are buying low and betting high and hoping it explodes and he turns into one of the great offensive minds, and they think that highly of him. So, but I also think Nick gave little clues that it's not going to be as drastic. It's going to be more Kellen Moore like, when it's like it's going to be his offense, but we've done so many good things over the past 4 or 5 years that it would be silly to get away from all of it.
Oh, good. So he didn't act like he had a 5-win season.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, I do think that's good.
I think Nick needs to be more confident. I mean, look, I know he gets a lot of shit, and sometimes it can be tough to do in this city. But, dude, don't let.
No, I don't think. I don't.
Talk show. Don't let anybody get to you, because They ain't right. Or I'm not smart enough to know more than you. You got an 11-win season. Double down, Nick. I think you should double down on it a little bit more. And if the owner wants to blow him out for that reason, then so be it. Go out with some integrity. Nick,
well, and that's the tough, and I think he, he does have confidence in himself. I don't think that's the problem. That's why I've been saying this entire time. Look, I find it very hard to believe that if he's ordered to go away from his offense, that it wasn't decreed from up top, because I talked to him and he's got a lot of confidence in himself over the years.
Maybe confidence wasn't the right word, but I do feel like maybe he's walking a fine line, in the organization he has to placate, which I understand. That's a lot more important.
Well, he knows things didn't work out last year. So, I mean, from the standpoint, and I guess we'll mesh into Stoutland, from the standpoint of what was originally reported, look, when they shifted last season to going under center, doing all the things that most fans liked or perceived that they liked and thought that was Nick Sirianni stepping in and shifting the offense, as he did when they did it with Kellen Moore as well. And he decided he wanted to move forward with that. And, things went the direction they went with Stoutland but from his perspective, nothing changed last year when those reports came out from demotion from run game coordinator. He was not demoted from run game coordinator. The only thing that happened was, Nick took more of an interest in it, and I guess Jeff perceived that as a demotion. Whereas, if you think about, Kellen Moore could have said the same thing, if you want to perceive that, but people have to understand the head coach is the head coach. The head coach can do what he wants.
Yeah. You said this when the stuff happened with Stoutland.
Yeah. I got some good intel on that when it happened. So from the standpoint of, I think it was more a perception from Stout's side that he felt like it was taken away from him. And it was more like, look, we have to do this because people are junking it up from a run game perspective. And he also talked about that. Nick talked about, and I wrote about this on SI. People want to go there and read it. He talked about, because I think everybody thinks like this is about the passing game. And he made it very clear that it's certainly about the passing game, but it was also about the running game. And that, that was the part that we talked about all season that fell off a cliff, basically, from last year. And when he was talking about the scheme, and I'm trying to pull up the quotes and I'm doing it all. He went in the process thinking he wanted it. One of the reasons why, and here it is, with the way the NFL is now, this is Nick Sirianni talking. Without getting too schematic, you see a lot of teams where they're reading pure progressions. We've talked about that when Kirk Cousins, the Eagles are going to be a pure progression team now. We'll see how that works. They're handling all the junk that is being thrown at you. So it's, when you think about Vic Fangio and disguising Brian Flores and chaos, it's easier to go pure progression because they're trying to hide coverage. So their whole point is to delay it till post snap and force the quarterback on the field to process in real time. Whereas if you just go progression, well, the first guy's not open, you go to second guy, you go to third guy. So that kind of handles that junk. That's why people are gone to it. And then Sirianni said, well, this version of the run game is kind of in that mix as well. And it's the run game version of it, where there's a lot of run game junk being thrown at you. And this handles all of it. So, people were blitzing, people were looking at the offset, people were looking at the shotgun, the pistol, and saying, all right, Saquon's only got one way. We're gonna create havoc. And that's why they shifted last year. Now they're trying to amp it up and get people more experience doing it to get it better, whereas they just did it on the fly last year. So it's about more than the passing game. It is about the passing game. And we're going to see how the
yeah. I mean, I do agree the
progression.
run game has to get better, but John, my one problem with that is, like, we talk about the run game last year like it was one of the worst in the league. Like, it was an average for the first time in 5 years. They had a slightly above average run game as opposed to a great run game. I mean, I think Saquon was 10th or 11th in the NFL.
Yeah, but where was he when they switched?
Yeah, I know that, but you can't go into every season assuming that you're going to have, a crazy big run game like that. The offense, the passing game has been below average for.
I'm with you. I'm not trying to.
I'm not saying Nick is wrong that you got to fix the run game and that's your best chance to keep going, but I don't like dismissing the passing game. And I'm not saying he did that, but that's just my feeling on it. Like, I don't want to dismiss that. I mean, the passing game's below average, and if that was a little better, you wouldn't need to rely on a perfect run game so much. That's just my thought on it. It doesn't make me right, but we'll see.
Well, he didn't ignore it because he mentioned the pure progression aspect.
Right.
So they're changing, and they use some pure progression, but they sort of went back and forth. They're changing the passing game, but I think what he was trying to say is everybody thinks it's about the passing game. It's not just about the passing game, because the running game, before they shifted to the under center stuff, was bad. It was bad. Saquon was averaging 3.4 yards per carry at that point. It was only after they changed it got a little bit better. And, the offensive line deserves part of that. We've talked about that. The health aspect, all of that factors into it. But the bottom line is they think this is easier to handle those looks where they're just selling out. And we're going to see if they're right. I don't know if they're necessarily right, because, again, I don't think it necessarily fits their personnel right now because it was built for different styles. So I don't necessarily think it's right. I'm just trying to explain their thinking behind it.
John, real quick, we got Jeff Kerr in the room. We're going to get to Jeff Kerr here in a second. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here today on Birds 365. Good show today with some of the stuff that's come out, and then obviously you got the combine now kicking off. So we're going to hear from these from Howie and Nick a little bit more this week. John, any other broad topic that we got to get to before we get to Jeff Kerr that they mentioned that you feel the need to just talk about? Obviously, we're going to dive deeper into what was said as the week goes on. But any other big topic, we hit the big ones. I think Jalen, AJ, what Howie and Nick said about Mannion and Stalin and things of that nature. Any other big topic you think is worth before we get to Jeff Kerr here?
Well, we got the free agency, the big ones. I mean, there's Parks Frazier, why he's the quarterback's coach, which is sort of a bridge, which you also got on this show before it came out. He was with Mike McDaniel in Miami. So he knows the Eagle system. He knows Jalen Hurts. He can kind of bridge to the new system.
Okay.
So that's why they made that decision. I think as we head into free agency, I think that's going to be the biggest talking point. I could be wrong. Obviously, probably AJ is. But other than that, we got a good perspective on where they are entering free agency. And we'll bring Jeff up and we'll talk. I got the big quote where Howie sort of started with a statement to kind of set people up for what free agency is going to look like.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to get to Jeff Kerr in a second. Two pieces of business I got to do for everybody. First, real quick, let me tell you guys about the great people at Fritz Bianculli Law Firm. You guys see their logo on our screen. They've been with us now for well over a year. The great sponsor, presenting sponsor here at Birds 365. If you've been in an accident, hurt at work, or dealing with an insurance company, Fritz Bianculli is who you call. I said it before, and I'll say it again. These are the people you want in your corner. Call Brian Fritz today. He is the very best, Brian Fritz. Anybody who's ever met Brian, he is as real as they come. So shout out to Fritz Bianculli. Give them a call for all your legal needs. And our big JAKIB Nation home opener, guys. I just said 29. I think that number is already down. 29 out of 100. It's 50 available, but it's 2 per person. So we got 100 total for the JAKIB tailgate. It's $100, guys, and this gets you a seat to get your butt in a seat at the Eagles home opener this year. All right, it's a full tailgate experience. You get the pregame show. We're going to do a pregame show from down there. We are going to have a full tailgate with food for the people who are in, and then we're going to go in it. We're going to get everybody tickets to the game. So shoot Krause a text. 29 left. That might be less now. All right, and once they're gone for good. Shout out to Savvy Seats for getting this deal done. Shoot Krause a text, 267-261-3428, and text them Birds365. Krause, I want in for the tailgate and the home opener. Send them the text now. Those tickets are going to sell out, I would imagine, either today or tomorrow. We appreciate all you guys for being here today. Let's go to the one and only Jeff Kerr, set to join us right here on Birds365. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr PHL. Jeff, welcome to the program on a Tuesday, my friend. I normally see that shiny mug on a Monday, and you're here with us on a Tuesday. It's good to see you, my friend. How you doing?
Pretty good. Hey, John, is the embargo lifted yet, or are you guys allowed to?
It is, yeah. It is 6 o'clock this morning, so we're talking about it. It's all broke. So people are saying, where are these guys getting this stuff? Well, we're getting it from the GM and the head coach. So there you go.
I will say, I guess from the outside looking in, the Eagles are the only franchise that seems to do this.
Well, I'm not going to complain. We got about 40 minutes with each of them.
Yeah, but which is great, by the way. It's just weird how I don't know if the Eagles are actually going to have like a press conference for Sean Mannion or anything like that, but I mean,
no, they're going to hold that off till, and they've done the same thing with Kellen Moore, even experienced people. So they're going to hold that off till. Yeah. Well, their thought process behind that is, look, there's going to be a lot of questions that he can't answer right now because they don't have personnel set. They don't have plans. Their plans are obviously underway, but you don't know how things are going to work out.
They haven't finalized their whole coaching staff yet either.
No, they haven't finalized their whole, which they also tend to do late. Montgomery Van Gorder, the latest, he's going to be the assistant quarterbacks coach. They didn't have an assistant, so now they have an assistant.
Yeah, well, Montgomery got promoted as far as I know.
He got promoted.
For my friend, the great Matt Zenith. He's
doing a good job. Matt Zenith is plugged in when it comes to coaches, man. That dude
he was plugged in when we worked in college together. He was building that up. I'm not surprised he is where he is right
now. So he was at Georgia, Montgomery Bay. He was a quarterback at Notre Dame way back, but a backup. Youngstown State, Ron Jaworski School. So he's going to be the assistant quarterbacks coach. Should have mentioned that. But yeah, from the Eagles' perspective, look, and I don't agree with it because I think Sean would get a bunch of, and from everything I've heard behind the scenes, like you're going to be really impressed by Sean Mannion. Like I'm like, I'd let him go.
Let him talk.
He's going to get a lot of questions about it. His offensive roots and his thought process. He's not going to get, do you want AJ Brown back? But, there's one knucklehead that's going to say that and ruin it for everybody. That's what happens.
But it's a shame, too, because, like, again, just reading both sides of the fence, and I kind of agree with the fans on this. So, like, I kind of like to know a little more about this guy. Like, I know what I'm reading about him, but I kind of want to hear him speak. And when they see the Jaguars and the Bills and all, and anybody who has a coordinator, they're having these press conferences. They're like, boy, I wish we could have one right now.
Well, perfect example is Kristen Parker down in Dallas. So I don't know if you watched his opening press conference.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
But he got the questions are you guys going to bring in the Eagles free agents, Nakobe Dean, etc. It's like, I mean, he's not the GM. He's not Will McClellan. He's not. Yeah. He's not. That's what they don't want happening, which does happen. So I have to acknowledge, but I think Sean could handle it. I say let him go, but they're not going to listen to me. So, but that's the reason you won't hear Sean Mannion until OTAs or off-season work. And that's been their history with even Kellen Moore, who had experience. That's the way they've been. And Vic Fangio's got more experience than God himself. So it's not about hiding the young guy. It's just the way they do it because,
it's hard to argue the way they do it with their success, just overall as an organization. But if this was like a 5-win team, this would not fly.
Well, they act like a 5-win team sometimes. So, they're not a 5-win team, but they act.
Jeff,
like
what's your current feeling on, let's go to AJ. They spoke about him and they gave you, it's not an easy thing for them to talk about, which I understand. What is your feeling on AJ Brown at this point, based on what you've read, what you've heard? John's at 53-47, the first time he's cracked the 52-48 plane yesterday. He cracked it to 53, that AJ will be gone. Where is the Jeff Kerr meter on AJ Brown?
It just doesn't seem like good business to trade a guy like that away, but I don't know. It's so weird how this whole thing is kind of playing out. Like, there are ways they can do it. I just don't think it to be a Super Bowl contender, you trade him away. But I mean, is he more trouble than he's worth right now? I don't know. I don't make too much of him going on the Patriots podcast and doing that wink. I'm telling you, I think his biggest issue is he tries to find any way he can to get attention. And that's everybody today. He's just doing it in his own way. And whether the Eagles like it or not, I guess it's up to the Eagles.
I just don't care about it. I'm like, AJ wants attention. Who cares?
I'm AJ'd out, and I love AJ.
Me
But
too.
that's why I'm far more more.
You know what? I would love to tell AJ Brown, and like, this is just from coach perspective. Dude, you weren't that good last year. Like, you were good, but you weren't AJ Brown good. You dropped passes.
He wasn't.
You gave up on plays.
Fact.
Like, it's clear, and you shouldn't need to be that motivated. I don't know.
What I agree with you is that he didn't play up to the caliber that I'm used to seeing AJ. That I completely agree with AJ Brown. Now, I don't care that much about the social stuff, but I get that the Eagles do care about it. Well, I mean, look, it's it's perception, and it does bring press and questions, and people have to deal with it. So I get it; it's a part of their everyday life. But I'll take the player.
My issue is there's a hornet's nest in front of you. You walk around it, you don't hit it, and he always likes to hit it. He has to hit it.
Yeah, it seems that way. I'm with Zander. I'm AJ'd out. I don't know. I mean, look, they're going to make a decision. The decision, I think, has more to do with AJ Brown than it does to do with the Eagles. Look, it's not the proper time to trade him if everything is copacetic, even if he's coming off a bad year because of the contract. So, if there weren't other issues, they wouldn't be even entertaining, contemplating, picking up phone calls, anything about AJ Brown because of the contract. I've used it, and I'm going to use it again because Jeff is here. Mike Tomlin's great quote: "You don't want hostages, you want volunteers." And if he doesn't want to play here, I think that's where the Eagles are. And if he's going to be frustrated, that's where the Eagles are. So can he buy in on Sean Mannion and evolving the offense? I think that's the only question with AJ Brown. If he buys in and if he convinces them,
he'd end up. Like, where do you think if he wants out of here? Like,
I think a lot of teams would want him. Starting with New England.
But does that mean
he is a Patriots fan. So I mean,
yeah.
That's no secret to anybody.
He likes Vrabel, gets along with Vrabel, didn't want Vrabel to leave.
Well, it's funny, he hated Vrabel. He did it when he was a rookie, couldn't stand.
Well, when he was a rookie though. But rookies don't like anyway.
Yeah. So I'm much more interested about free agency, and I want to roll out the big Howie Roseman quote. So, and I think this is going to upset a lot of people because people like the big name trap. They like hashtag no season. That's what I call it. Everybody, could they get Tyreek Hill? No. Could they get insert? And Tyreek Hill's not even healthy. That was a horrible injury, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's Dolphins waited a year too late to get rid of him.
Yeah. So every big name you hear, can they get him? Can they get him? Can they get him? Hashtag no. So here's Howie, but don't listen to me. Here's Howie Roseman. Sometimes, as much as you want to add from the outside and you want to change it up, you got to make a decision to keep players you know have played well and are part of your culture. Can we keep all our guys, considering we have, for example, a lot of key defensive players coming off rookie deals in the next few years? No, we're not going. We are going to have to make choices, as they already have in the past with guys like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. For us to sign them, that's going to limit some flexibility with outside players. So then you combine that with the fact that teams, because there's more cap room, that's another thing I should have mentioned. Teams have gotten smarter because the cap has gone up. Teams have done a great job of signing their own players. That's your hint that free agency, the market sucks.
Exactly right.
Yeah. It wasn't good last year, by the way.
No, because teams are getting savvier and understanding that's not the way to build a successful team. So to continue with Howie, he says, and so you can just shuffle deck chairs, right? And just say, hey, I'm going to trade out this guy because he's not ours. And maybe it's a better PR move than, hey, we're active. Look, they signed this guy. But that means we're going to have to get rid of one of our own guys. And so everything we do at this point is a trade-off. If we do this, we're going to have to get rid of that. That's Howie Roseman. It's not me. That's Howie Roseman. I don't think people like that, Jeff.
No, I don't think I think you're going to have another Timu offseason.
I think it's going to be a little bit up from that, but not much.
Yeah,
I don't think. Now, again, they will make a splash for a certain player. They would have made a splash for Myles Garrett. They would have made a splash for Michael.
Yeah, Myles Garrett's available. I expect them in on it. Same with Max Crosby.
But I don't know about Max. I'm not as high on Max Crosby.
I was on with my boy Q Myers last week on the Raiders radio. We were just like having some fun with it. And he goes, Jeff, what do you think? AJ Brown for Max Crosby? And I'm like, well, I would do it, but would you guys do it? It's like, no.
I don't think that's going to be enough to get Max Crosby, and for that reason, I am out on Max Crosby. Yeah, I haven't really been on that for a while. I don't. It just doesn't feel like for what you're going to have to pay, it's gonna get you what you need, you know. So I don't know that. I know he is a good player.
One of my bold predictions was, and I said this on the Raiders radio. I wouldn't be shocked that Nakobe Dean was a Raider.
I could see that
because he's close to Ronell Williams, and when I talked to him, he always liked him. He always spoke highly of him, and Ronell's in Vegas now. So
Nakobe won't listen to my advice, and that's perfectly fine. But my advice for Nakobe Dean is go get the best contract for you can find. I don't care what team it's on, man.
Hey, look, Milton Williams did it. It worked out well for him.
Exactly right.
I told you what I'm doing, Nakobe Dean, because they have no money. I'm signing a 1-year deal with Minnesota, and I'm going to blow up with Brian Flores.
Oh, he'd be a stud there. I'm telling you, I wherever he goes, I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, he's a good player, but he's really good blitzer. I mean, a really good blitzer.
Yeah.
And that's why I say Flores, because he turned Eric Wilson into a player. My God, if he can do that for Eric Wilson,
terrible here. Yeah.
If he can do that for Eric Wilson, what's he going to do for Nakobe Dean?
Yeah, my thing about Eric Wilson, like, he's still in the league. Like, he was on the Eagles 6 years ago, and you thought he was done.
Yeah, well, Eric, I like Eric personally. He remade his body, sort of TJ Edwards did. So he's a different guy. Like he really worked hard. Late bloomer, decent player, wasn't good here. Had a really good season last season. But I think he's limited. I think, but he was a good blitzer, and Flores took advantage of it. And I think he would do that for Nakobe Dean as well. But they have no money. They're like $40 million over the cap. So I don't know how it works. But if he could get connected with Brian Flores, I think it would work really well. Otherwise, and most of the time for any player, especially Nakobe Dean, who's had the Liz Frank, and the patellar tendon, just take the biggest contract.
Do we
Whoever
really
gives you
think?
less money.
Do we really think Malik Willis is a top free agent?
I do, yeah.
Man.
Partially because of Sean Mannion.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm
great.
like, that's a reason why you should be excited. Malik Willis was garbage before he got to Sean Mannion.
I mean, I can't. How many games did Malik Willis play with Sean? I mean, with Sean Mannion as his quarterback?
Not a lot, but I'll tell you what.
He played 2 years with him.
In a league that is quarterback desperate. I mean, he looked like he's.
Oh, I agree. He's going to be coveted. I'm not using it as my nail in the coffin. That shot that, or I guess that's the wrong.
No,
term.
no.
I'm using it as my reason to feel good about Mannion. That's all.
I'm just saying it's part of it. It's a feather in his cap. I mean, to Jeff's point, he was garbage coming into Green Bay, and now he's going to get a pretty significant, pretty decent free agent deal, probably with Miami, because Jeff Hapley's down there. That's my guess. And they're looking to move off Tua, and they need to. That just didn't work. And I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I was really impressed when he stepped in for Jordan Love. He did play really well. I think it's fair to say. And I'm not giving the coach credit for that. It's the player, but he helped. You got to give him that. You got to give him that.
He fixed them. I mean, from what all the scouts and draftniks said about Willis, they all look like idiots when he was in Tennessee, and then he gets to Green Bay, and then you're seeing, so that's what they see, or that's the talent they see.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Malik Willis than Tua. That's how bad it's gotten for Tua. I don't like Tua a little bit.
No, yeah, you never have, John.
One read just throws it. He's got a lot of Favre in him. You know, he decides where he's going to throw the ball, and he's throwing it. Now, if guys are open, he's great, but I can't have that.
Well, that was when Tyreek Hill was in his prime. But yeah, I'm just looking at the top free agent list now. It's a very underwhelming list.
It's extremely underwhelming. I mean, we're I see people in the chat joking, and I understand it. You know, another Temu offseason. It's like it almost.
I mean, it is a Temu offseason.
You almost
want
it to be a Temu offseason because I don't think there's anybody out there that's all that worth going.
Honestly, one of the best free agents is your own guy, Jalen Phillips.
So with that being said, then where's the walkaway number? I think John has to go up a couple million at least. I mean, if we put the walkaway number at 22. I think we got to give the Eagles up to 25 at this point on the walkaway.
I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, there are. If you took out the injury issues, I do think it's going to go up. But I think it would already be up. I think that would already be baked into it. And then he doesn't have the huge sack numbers as well. So.
I agree with all that, but the problem is when push comes to shove and these teams need a player and there's not better options out there, and then you got 10 of them, looking to get in the sweepstakes. A couple of them are going to be dumb enough to push it up the board. Even if it's just 2 of them, it doesn't have to be all 10 of them or 15 of them that want an edge rusher. If 2 of them are willing to pay and take the gamble and take the risk, and they listen to Vic Fangio's press conferences talking about them, then that's going to be enough. There's not enough players out there, I think, to keep the number low.
Well, if the numbers, I'm looking at Spot Rack now, 17.338 million.
Sign me up, baby.
Sign it up. Yeah, get that done. So, I mean, if that's your low point and, 30 million is your high point, none of us know what the hell we're doing. And ultimately, I think he's going to be plus 20 million. Where that ends up, the closer to 20 million, the more likely he's an Eagle.
It's Phillips and Odafe Owe are like the 2 big pass rushers. And I mean, normally it'd be Trey Hendrickson, but
they're very similar. Has Odafe Owe gotten a sack since he left Penn State? I know he didn't get a sack.
Oh, well, he was a beast with the Chargers after he got traded.
I'm joking. That is the weirdest prospect. I gotta give my Pat Penn State dig at Jeff. His last year he didn't have a sack, right?
His last year at Penn State, he didn't have a sack, and I
That's
think that's when he
crazy.
changed. I think that's when he went to his birthday too, because he was Jason Owe at Penn State.
And get this, because I'm on spot. I'm not trying to pick on spot, right? Dofe Owe's market value is $19.3424 million. It's higher than Jaylen Phillips.
Man,
What are
they're
we
really
doing
banking
here?
on eight games at the Chargers, aren't they?
Well, I think he's going to get a lot of money. Don't
I
get me
think
wrong.
he is too. He's a good player.
Yeah, he is.
I couldn't believe it didn't work out in Baltimore.
In fact, I think, if things go wrong, you got to start looking at him to bring him in.
Where do we think Alec Pierce goes? He's going to get paid.
I don't think he's leaving Indy. I think they're going to franchise one and maybe transition the other.
Is he like the modern day James Lofton? Like he has it. What does he average? Like 20 yards a catch?
Yeah, he's a good player. What are they going?
What do you guys think Nakobe Dean's going to get? I mean, with all this, with the lack of talent of free agency, now he's got the injuries too, but man, he can play.
I think he can get $15 million a year.
I don't think he's going that high. I
don't think he is either, but I think someone that has a lot of cap room, they might
Isn't that
do
what
it.
Bond got? Didn't Bond get like 17?
Yeah, he's like 15, I think, Bond. But I mean, the cap went up. I don't think I think he's 10 million, somewhere around there.
Which is a pretty good deal for Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, with his injury history, if he can get that, if he can get 2 years, 20, take it and run. Spot Rack has him at 8 million, basically 7.89 million. Nakobe.
Yeah, John, you are right about the whole free agency thing now. It's just not as big as it was because the cap went up.
Yeah, and more people can sign.
Yeah, I wonder how much the Howie influence has permeated the league in terms of how he does deals. It's given the Eagles, in a way, such a big advantage. I'm sure you guys have seen that graphic that's out there of the Eagles like dead cap or the cap that they pushed into the future and how it's so much bigger than everybody else's. And I do wonder how much. Now you got to have the owner willing to spend, and obviously Jeffrey Lurie deserves a lot of credit for that, but. I do wonder how much of that has started to permeate the league, at least a little bit more, to where the advantage has lessened significantly.
Sorry. Well, breaking that, not important news, but
Yeah.
I do want to throw it out there. While the NFL is no longer discussing a tush push man, the UFL will announce today that it is eliminating the tush push.
The UFL setting the standard here.
Eliminating. Now, you do chuckle, but sometimes they use these lower leags to like.
I'm shocked we went 30 plus minutes with me on here and we haven't talked about that yet.
They do use these lower leagues to like testing, like the kickoffs, and
yeah, it's true.
They steal things from the XFL, the old XFL, and the UFL. So it is. Maybe they're going to look at how it looks and then ban pushing down the road. So I wouldn't just completely dismiss it. But getting back to your point, yeah, I think a lot of people copy the way Howie does things. But there is a price to pay, and that's where you're in the eye of the storm, because for 10 years, nobody spent more cash than the Eagles. And then they happened to draft well on top of it. And then it was like they had too many good players, and then you got to pick and choose who you're going to keep.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good problem to have, though.
They've been in and out of the park since pretty much 2021. And if you count 2020 with Jalen Hurts, that made up for anybody you drafted.
Yeah, most teams don't have too many good players to worry about keeping them all. So it's a good problem to have. But it's also a real... good problem still has the word problem in it. It's still, it's better.
It's one of those, it sucks because you can't keep everybody.
Exactly. So, I mean, what would you prefer? But I thought the reason I read that quote, I thought it was a great quote from Howie for that reason. Like, people think outside names are additions, which they are, and they think re-signing your own guys isn't an addition. However, and technically it isn't because he was your own guy, but when they're unrestricted,
And
they're
when you lose
unrestricted.
them,
Yeah.
it's a loss. And I tried telling Phillies fans that with a certain DH and a catcher.
Yeah, they just don't. They're never going to think about it that way.
No.
So, from the Eagles' perspective, their top decision in free agency is Jaylen Phillips, and then everything else pivots off that. If he stays,
and I don't think anybody here is going to complain that they bring him back.
Well, no, they're not going to complain if they bring him back, but they're going to complain that they don't bring people in because they brought them back. They're just not going to trace the two together.
Yeah, it's like you said, they gave a third-round pick for him, so that's their guy.
Yeah. So that to me is what free agency is about for the Eagles. That's where it starts, and we'll see where it goes. But as far as the market as a whole, again, I'm sure people put in the chat, who do you want? Look at this market. It's crap.
It's not good. Like it's starting to get like NBA free agency. You're really hitting the bottom of the barrel with a couple of these guys.
And you're getting veteran guys who are descending a lot of times. Like there's big names, but they're not what they once were.
Travis Etienne's available. Do you think he's a big name? I from college, I guess, but
what are they going to do with him? I don't know.
No, I'm saying in general, in the general free agent pool.
David Njoku, a lot of people got on him. It's like, all right, he's 30 and Dallas is 31.
I'm just looking at Trey Hendrickson, 31.
Yeah, it's not good, man.
Rashid Shaheed's 28 already. I did not realize that.
Well, he's a one-trick pony. Yeah. Nice trick, though, but he's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, good. It's a good trick.
Mike Evans is. I don't think Mike Evans is actually going to be back in Tampa.
Well, why would he leave Tampa?
I know why would he leave, but
he's going to be 33. He's 32. He's going to be 33. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Where it's not like Jerry Rice played somewhere else, so it's not like that. But who's going to give Mike Evans at almost 33? Who's going to give him $20 million?
Yeah, I think my bargain is in free agency. Who I think you can get on a good deal and get even better value. Isaiah Likely.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem. Those guys, and that's part of the problem with Jaylen Phillips. They're the few and far between guys who are 26, 27, who could really help you.
There used to be a lot of them. Isaac Seumalo was a free agent.
Yeah.
And he's been good in Pittsburgh, like legit.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. What about looking at these Green Bay guys?
Like Romeo Dobbs?
Hey, well, ask Sean Mannion. Are you going to sign John Fitzpatrick? Are you going to sign well, you're not going to sign Malik Willis. Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan.
Funny if they did. Could you imagine if somehow Malik Willis signed here? Oh man.
Romeo Dobbs.
I think it'd be fun.
Romeo Dobbs with his goofy kazoo helmet. Is he going to come here, Sean Mannion?
He's a guardian. He's a guardian cap guy, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what That's what John's talking about. I don't mind.
There was a player that wore a guardian cap in the Super Bowl.
The kazoo helmet. Yeah, I don't have a problem. It's just it's funny.
Do people know who Kazoo is anymore?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But I'm old.
I just remember in the Flintstones, Pebbles would go Kazoo. And one would always say, "Bless you, Pep." She's the only one who knew who he was.
Jeff, you have a knack to know a little bit of everything, my friend.
I'm telling you, I watch a lot of television.
And there's not much we talk about that you don't have a
I tell people I'd be a great radio show host. Like you said, I know a little bit of everything.
There you go, Jeff.
Well, do people not know who Kazoo is really? Zander, can you?
I mean, think about this. The
search
Flintstones came out 60
Flintstones
years ago.
and check out his helmet and put it up for the people if you can put it up.
I'll put it up. I'll put up Kazoo. Show a little Kazoo on the show today. Kazoo from the Flintstones. There it is. Comes right up.
That's when that show broke the fourth wall too.
Yeah, man.
Or jumped the shark. Well, I guess they jumped the shark before jumping the shark was actually a thing.
It's Gazoo. Is that right, guys? Gazoo. G-A-Z-O.
No, it's K.
I always thought it was Kazoo.
Kazoo. Yeah, it is Kazoo. You're right.
Not according to my Google search here.
That's right. It's Kazoo. You're right. I screwed that up. It's been a while. Kazoo. It is.
There he is. The great Kazoo.
The great Kazoo. Yeah. All right.
With the big helmet. All right.
There, the big helmet.
Hello, Dum Dum.
He said that a lot. Yeah.
There you go.
The Romeo Dobbs helmet. But can you imagine Sean Mannion getting that question? Hey, you gonna bring in Romeo Dobbs or John Fitzpatrick?
You guys think the wide receiver 3 will get more targets this year? I think I saw a stat yesterday. Cilio was saying on the afternoon show. 79 out of 300 attempts last year go to wide receiver 3 and tight end. I mean, they don't spread the ball that much, or they haven't. I know that's partly the quarterback doesn't spread it as much as some others, which is just part of his game. Do you think they try and fix that or approach that differently this year? You think Sean Mannion tries to get change that up a little bit? I do wonder if part of the reason that the hitch routes didn't work as much as they did is because it's one thing to do a hitch and it works. It's another thing for it to be the only thing you do, or to go to it so much that there's no expectation of you to spread the ball to other places, at least to the extent that some other teams would do it. Do you expect Sean Mannion to try and address that or fix that, or is that just kind of part of the identity of the offense at this current time?
Yeah, I mean, I always felt that the wide receiver 3 was the tight end 1. It was Dallas Goedert, but that's the other question I have. Like, are they going to address tight end in free agency? Are they going to do both that in the draft? But to your initial question, Zander, they could focus on more, but that depends on if AJ's back or not. If AJ's here, probably no.
I'm having a hard time envisioning a team that's going to really be positioned to win without A.J. Brown. Now, I understand that some people are tired of A.J. Brown. I get it, all right? And I'm sure there's some people who are, all right, just get rid of the guy. I'm tired of hearing it. What does this team really look like without A.J. Brown? We just talked about it. Right now, Goddard's not under contract. You're rolling out Devontae Smith, and who else as a pass catcher?
Yeah, John Dotson ain't back.
Yeah, John Dotson's not back. Goddard's right now not back. Now, maybe they bring him back.
Hey, John said some nice things about Nick Sirianni.
Yes, he did. He said some good things about Jalen Hurts, too. Jalen and Nick was pretty good. Yep.
I'm going to miss Jahan. Like, I've had a chance to talk to Jahan over the years.
Kerr and his Penn State guys.
With the Penn State stuff.
We never scout the helmets. Jeff would have every Penn State alum.
Wait, Jeff, sit back. I think you got the Penn State sweatshirt on right now.
I do have it on.
Yeah, I know you do.
This isn't a football sweatshirt.
That's a sweet sweatshirt, that Penn State.
It is. They wore this when the basketball team was supposed to go to a tournament in 20, and obviously COVID happened.
Right.
The one year they're good.
Of course, yeah, right.
There's a lot of good Penn State players, but never scout the helmet.
The most I've ever seen Jahan Dotson after they lost to Oregon this year. We were talking. He goes, "Don't say anything about Franklin." And he literally, I thought he was going. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about Franklin. I said it's not James Franklin's fault. Drew Howard threw a pass in the triple coverage in overtime, and then he laughed.
Why seriously though? I think if you bring Jahan Dotson back, it's even less exciting for the people because even though he might be better than some other, if you use him, because I don't think he's a bad player.
I thought Eagles fans liked him. Liked what he brought.
I don't know. He didn't obviously because they didn't use the third receiver a lot. I think the perception was that he's not very good. I just don't. To me, the question is your question, will they use the wide receiver? Well, yeah, it depends on who the tight end is, but and obviously if AJ leaves, it ships everything. But let's just pretend AJ's back and you have Dallas Goedert back. Will they use the third wide receiver? I doubt it.
Who would even be the third receiver? Would you draft one?
Romeo Dobbs, maybe Gazoo. We just talked about him. We just brought him up.
Gazoo.
Would Gazoo want to come here and not get targets?
Yeah, Gazoo's too good. Gazoo's too good. He's a pretty good player, Dobbs.
He is. I like him.
No, you're not bringing him in as a third. He's going to get paid. He's the guy who gets paid.
What about as a wide receiver too? I mean, if AJ's gone.
Yeah, if AJ's not, that'd be a perfect signing. Yes. And the Eagles think Devontae Smith could handle the wide receiver one job.
Johnny Wilson's going to be the third receiver. Let's not kid ourselves.
No. Johnny Wilson is hurt by this shift in offense, I would think.
Well, I'm not. I don't know how big the shift is going to be, John.
Well, that's
maybe we jump to conclusions on what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying if the talk turns into reality, that's what I'm saying. But I'm with you. I question whether it's going to be real or not. But they're trying.
Which, to be fair, you questioned early, but you did say, "Well, this is a lot of change to not have a shift," which I think is true as well.
They're definitely trying, but I don't know. Like, to me, Nick has proven himself again and again that when the real bullets start flying, he's going to try to win the game, no matter what, however he can. So, I don't think that part is going to change, but. I mean, if they lose it, that'd be number one on my list as far as free agency goes.
I agree.
Romeo Dobbs. I mean, history with Sean Mannion, good player. Let's see what his market value is.
John's first press conference with Romeo Dobbs, he's accidentally going to call him Gazoo.
I'll call him Kazoo. I'll screw it up on 12 million market value. Which, judging by Spot Rack, is usually a little low, so I'm going to guess 15 million. That's too expensive, I would think. He's a good player. He's going to have options.
What's his market value?
12 million.
Yeah, 12 million. 12 million.
Which is low, so I put it at 15 million.
Yeah, everything seems to be a little.
Yeah, we're just gonna add a couple million to what Spot Track has.
Yeah, I still feel like I don't know. I mean, I still go back to that Jalen at 17. Like, I don't think there's a world that exists where Jaylen Phillips gets $17 million.
I don't think there's a world that exists either. It's insane.
If it does exist, like Howie Roseman should.
Well, it's a done deal.
Yeah, I think he'd already be signed, folks. I mean, I'm going to test it, but you know what I mean.
I would never sign before I became a free agent.
Well, Bond did that last year. Now that was a little different scenario, but
he also got paid.
Yeah, he did, but I bet he would have gotten paid.
It was also a little different with Bond too, because that's Jaylen Phillips has been successful in two systems.
Yeah, both with Vic Fangio, but no, he was a good player without Vic as well. But he's played his best with Vic, no question, and he knows that too. So, I think he wants to stay as well. But if somebody breaks the bank, man, gotta take it. It's a business, and that's the concern with Jaylen Phillips. But Reed Blankenship, Jeff, that's an interesting one.
You read my mind, John. That's where I was thinking of going.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss.
I'm gonna go.
I'm indifferent if they bring him back or not. Like, if they do, fine.
I feel similarly about him as I just mentioned about AJ. I get it. Reed is not, a world elite safety. What are you going to replace Reed with that gives you a better chance to win in 26? I don't see it. He's the guy that does all the communication on the back end of the secondary. Vic has called him the leader of the secondary.
He's the glue guy.
You're going to get rid of Nakobe Dean. Now Reed Blankenship too. BG's going to be gone. They let Milton and Sweat. Well, at some point, Vic is not going to be able to take every turnover on the defense and just turn it to gold. And I don't think assuming that is a good thing. I really don't. But we'll see.
Yeah,
7.1 million. That's your Reed Blankenship value.
I'm signing that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm doing
I'm signing that.
Yeah, I would too. That's
I'm
not
going.
a lot of money.
I'm
no.
going 10 million, 2 years, 20 million.
I
What do
would
you
take.
guys
I would
say?
do that. I would do that too. I don't think that's a bad
John, I'm
deal
in,
for
dude.
him.
I'm in, but that might be the top, but I'm in on that.
I'm in. I signed him 2 years.
Is
So
that
I
your
try to,
walk away though? Like if it's 2 years, 23, 11 and a half.
I mean, who are you replacing Reed with? That's the thing.
they don't have any depth at safety.
They
They had
not.
depth at linebacker. That's why to me it's an easy decision. Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, because I love Nakobe. I wish he'd come back, but can't bring him back. You just can't. You can't.
It's like Melton Williams. You want to bring him back, but
Yeah.
you had depth there. You had so much depth.
Sometimes I feel like, and I'm certainly guilty of this, but and I don't know if this even applies, but you guys tell me what you think. Sometimes I feel like we put maybe a little too much emphasis on how much difference there is. For example, let's use Jaylen Phillips as an example. From, let's say, 20 or call it 25, right? The difference is $5 million a year based on the average annual value. And like I look at the Temus last year and I'm like, they spent $5 million between Obo, Uche, and Ojulari. Now I understand you have to fill out your roster, but it's like those guys didn't contribute much on the team. I'd rather pay $5 million more for Phillips and get a couple other seventh rounders to do special teams or late draft picks to get special teams than worry about the $5 million more to give Jaylen Phillips. You know, I understand that's not a perfect way to look at it, but
I thought
Uche get a little too caught up in like 20 or 25. Like, is it that much of a difference for Howie? Probably not that much. I understand.
And I thought Uche had a good first half considering what you were really asking him to be. And then once you trade for Phillips, it's like, okay, well, you don't really even need this guy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and to be fair to Howie, that's how they do it.
I agree with that, John. I'm more talking about the perspective of the deal. You know, people hear 25 and they're like, oh my gosh, walk away. But 20 is good. I'm like, really? You don't want to just give them the extra 5 as opposed to going and getting.
You know what, Zander? I think that's a trap front offices get into too. They're always trying to find that 1 year golden signing, like Zach Bond, right? It's everybody.
Well, I bet you people told the Patriots giving 28 to Milton was stupid, and they were like, yeah, people thought he was worth 24. We went to 28. I bet you they're pretty happy at the 28.
Yeah, and they had the money to do it. They say, you know what, we'll overpay for this guy because we think we know what we're getting here. But they trust their scouting department. They trust their front office. You got to trust your people.
And these are all 2-year deals for the most part. You know, if things go negative, you know, you got one good year out of Milton Williams, even if you don't get a second one. Is it that big of a deal? I would argue not really. But to that point, yeah, I mean, the Eagles have been playing that game. They basically have eliminated the middle class, is how I describe it. So the middle class of the NFL, which is not the middle class of the world.
There's a middle class in the world? I wasn't aware.
No, the number between the Eagles pay like premium players, and then they have rookie contracts or 1-year guys.
Yeah, right.
They don't have the only player between, I think, 8 and 15 million last year was Dallas Goedert. They had one player.
Wow, that's a great piece of intel right there.
That is, yeah. I like that.
So they've essentially eliminated the middle class.
So you're top heavy or nothing.
You're either getting paid or you're going cheap, and that you know it seems to.
Well, and that's and it tricky how many good players they have. They pay so many good players.
Eagles have Del Frisco's and Steakum on their team.
Well, it's almost a catch 22 with how good, you know, the Eagles have been drafting in recent years. I mean, they've been on a run, guys, in the draft. I'm sure you guys are.
Well, that was the whole point of Howie's quote. They'd rather keep their own players if they can than bring in somebody new because it's a PR hit. Oh, they're adding somebody. They're like, no, you know, if we could, we'd keep Nakobe Dean, but we can't. You know, why do we want Eric Wilson? Then you're just shuffling deck chairs, is what he said. you know, the good teams build from within. They draft.
That's why you
well,
should
and
be
they build from
excited.
within.
That's why you should be excited about the draft. They've been hitting on their draft picks.
Oh, their drafts have been insane.
But
I mean, they
Kuba had a
really
good
have.
year last year before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah. I think he's doing. I think they were very happy with him. Now, there were concerns about his, you know, long-term sustainability because he's so small and he got hurt. So
You
there's a
worry
little-
about that, and you worry about that in 3 years.
Well, he got hurt right away, so that's why I'm a little bit worried about it. And he got hurt a bunch of times actually, and then he got the serious injury. But if you go, but so here it is. Last year, you go back to really 2021. Your premium picks: Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milt Williams. That's like the best draft in the history of the world. That's your top 3 picks.
Yeah.
2022, Jordan Davis took a while, but he took off last season. Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, you take that.
My God. 2023, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steen.
Take that. Steen's the worst of these 9 players, by the way.
And he's a starter and a competent starter. 2024, Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt. And 2025, they only had 2 because they didn't have a 3rd rounder. Jahad Campbell, Drew Makuba. It's pretty fucking good, man. But also it's heavy defense. So from that group,
I have a feeling they're going the other way this year.
Yeah, they have to. They almost have to. From that group, you had to give up Milton because of what he got paid.
Kobe, you're gonna have to
now you got Jordan and Nakobe to deal with. Jordan Davis and Nakobe. You're probably going to lose Nakobe. Then you have Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith to deal with. You're probably going to lose Smith, to be honest. And then you have Mitchell, DeJean, Hunt. I think they're going to try to keep them all. And then last year, it's too early, but you have Campbell and Makuba. So the only offensive guys are Cam Jurgens, who's a good player, but banged up, obviously, and Tyler Steen.
And Landon.
And then go
You
back
signed
to
him.
Landon.
Yeah.
Landon Devontae. I was skipping.
And you signed Landon.
Yeah. You already signed Devontae as well.
Jeff, what version of Landon Dickerson you think we're getting next year?
Hopefully a healthy version.
How good, how effective is he as a player?
Yeah.
So, by the way, I'll also add in the caveat that John has talked about extensively here on the show. You know, Landon is a phenomenal guard. He is also a specific type of guard. You know, he's a mauler. He's a big dude. He is best when you play that ground and pound type.
Yeah,
of
that's why they run the football as much as they do. They want to use Landon Dickerson to his
especially
strength.
to the power scheme that they run, the inside zone, the power football. I mean, that works with the type of guys that they have.
Yeah.
If they go off of that, in theory, you know, how much does that affect a player like Landon, especially with the injuries? You know, he doesn't move that great, Jeff, laterally, you know, anymore. I think with the knees and the ankles and everything he's had work on. What version do you think we're getting next year of Landon Dickerson?
I mean, he's never been an elite pass blocker, but he's been good. But you're right. Like these linemen, every lineman tells me they hate pass blocking because they're getting teed off on. They want them all.
You got to go back like this as opposed to.
Yeah, exactly. You got to go back. And they said, you know, and they've told me this, like sometimes if you're bruised up back there, it just feels bad. So now you're getting a 300-pound monster just coming at you. I mean, look, Landon's had his fair share of injuries, as we all know, enough where he's contemplated not coming back. But obviously that, you know, he's going to be back, but I'd be curious to see how he adjusts his game because I think he's good enough to do that. But do you really want to take away his biggest strength and why he gets paid $21 million a year to begin with?
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I've been bringing that up a lot. That this does not seem like I don't want Landon Dickerson reach blocking all the time. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But you know, they did struggle last year. But I think that had more to do with the injuries than the scheme or the concepts. That's sort of like the, you know, the chicken or the egg. aspect of it. It's like I think they went, oh, this isn't working because people have caught up. I think it wasn't working because people were hurt.
Yeah.
But how do you prove that? You know,
I mean, I was the first one to say Landon Dickerson did not have a good year last year, but I said if you name a bodily injury, he probably has it.
yeah, I mean, the guy had knee surgery before the season, and he was back in like 10 days. He's a maniac.
Probably wearing braces left and right.
Oh, he hurt his back, he hurt his ankle, the knee.
Copperfit probably made a ton of money off him.
What's your yeah, he probably has a sponsorship.
Well, by the way, and you know, for the tush push, it beat the shit out of Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens.
It really
and
did.
Lane Johnson.
It really, John, you were right 3 years ago, and you said just QB sneak it. You'll be just as good at it.
We've have the numbers. We have the data to tell you that they were just as good, if not better.
They were
should have listened to Jay.
They were better, actually.
Remember in 2017 they were perfect on the QB sneak.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts is not the quarterback.
That was quite a long time ago now, but I do agree. I mean, they could do it, especially with Jalen and
Zander. I upset people in my one Reddit community because we were talking bracing, believe it or not. And someone said, "Can you believe 2017 was 9 years ago?" And I said, 2017 is as far away from 2026 as 2008 was from 2017. Oh, did I get roasted for that?
Man.
I'm going to roast you from one of your Reddit communities. Get the hell off of there, Jeff. Get out of that nonsense.
Sometimes you find out some fun stuff on there.
I hate
on those
Reddit.
Cesspools. I hate it too, but you find stuff out.
I hate Reddit, but no, you're right. I mean, it is what it is. Jeff,
you do find some good stuff on there. I will say that.
Who is a bigger concern for you? Is it Landon or is it Cam Jurgens? I mean, Cam got this deal. It looks like he's like promoting Go Birds on like the IV bag of some place in Bogota, Colombia.
Medellin.
I can't know if this is a good thing or it's a bad thing. I don't know.
I don't know either. That's what I said. Really what do I make of this thing?
Yeah, I'm not really
I'm a little scared. Well, at least it's better than Bryce Harper taking his own blood out and putting it back in. You see that, right?
They do that all the. That's the platelet rich therapy. That's what Jalen Carter did. They take out your own blood. They
but Jalen doesn't take pictures of it.
Oh, he took pictures.
Well, Bryce is into some of that stuff. That health, that health niche. It's a big thing.
Bryce is going to be the first cyborg.
Yeah,
he's thinking Sheldon Cooper already. Cyborg's going to take over by this year. I got to make sure I'm in my prime by this year.
Detroit Lions, by the way, going to play in the Munich game. Trying to eliminate.
The Eagles do not play the Lions next year, by the way.
Guys, how about this for the opener? Ready? Could the Eagles be the Thursday night opener opponent in Seattle to start the season?
You know what I'll say? Loss. They don't win there.
They're going to lose that game, but they could be. Why
not? Oh, you guys, the offseason hasn't even started yet, and Johnny, Mac, and Jeff are putting in their predictions.
They haven't won in Seattle since what? 08?
Tough place to play, man. Tough place to play.
Jeff and John hit me with it. They're losing the game. 6 months away.
Tough place to play. Presume, obviously, my presumption is Sam's got to be back as the quarterback.
Well, I was more asking, do you think that's a possibility? I thought it was a good one because
evidently the season opener is going to be on Wednesday this year.
It's Rams 49ers, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Is it the Brazil game or is it the Australian?
That's the Australian. Brazil game I heard is going to be week 3 this year.
Which one's going to be Wednesday before the traditional Thursday?
Australia.
That's going to be starting the NFL season on a Wednesday?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. So this is what I've heard. Brazil's going to be the week 3 game this year.
Week 3. Yeah, the Melbourne Cricket Ground is going to get the season opener.
Is it looking like the Eagles are going to have an international game?
I think they're going to play one because there's so many of them. I mean, you got to think of it. There's 8.
There's so many. Yeah, but
they've
been ruled out of a lot. They've been ruled out of a lot.
Yeah, they have. But there's still some that they – how about the 49ers? They got to play in Mexico City and in Australia.
Oh,
I hate these.
I
international
understand.
And we're
I
gonna get
really
them
hate
every
it.
week.
Look, I
the
understand the business perspective of the international audience because they've largely, gotten a lot out of the American audience, but man,
I liked it when there was one or two a year because then you kind of got excited for them. Now it's just like I don't care. Too much. It's like this NHL outdoor games. It's too much.
They're sucking it, trying to get as much money out of it as they can.
That's the problem. That's why these business. I know they run well, but man,
Well, the NFL is not going to take business advice from us. That's for sure.
No, and I'll tell you what. There's going to be more games on streaming too, so get ready for that.
Yeah, I know. Do you guys think they'll opt out of this TV deal thing and try?
Yes.
Oh hell yeah!
All right. So I'm gonna go on my streaming rant here.
They paid Nielsen good money to prop up those ratings.
Yeah, to boost up all the ratings this year.
I'm gonna go on my streaming rant here.
What could that mean for other sports leagues? I feel like I don't know why I have this feeling that some of these sports leagues are a damn deck of dominoes or a Jenga set. And if one
they are a Jenga set.
I mean, they
base their popularity on a fraudulent company that just makes up numbers.
Nielsen, the Nielsen rings are so outdated.
A joke to the point where people started complaining when they changed their methodology. So they changed it back. It's like, what are we doing here?
I remember when, and again, I'll bring up some TV shows. Scrubs is really popular. Scrubs never they had 7 years where they didn't reach the top 8 in the Nielsen ratings. How are they this popular? That's when I started realizing the Nielsen ratings aren't what they're cracking up to.
I can't believe anybody takes them seriously. Anybody.
You guys ever gotten the thing in the mail where it's the Nielsen ratings and they put a dollar bill inside?
I've never been a Nielsen family because they probably know I've destroyed them over.
They have the McMullen household flag.
I've been talking about their fraudulent. It's for 15 years. The NFL thought they were undercounted, and they complained, and all of a sudden they're fucking overcounted.
Yeah, they have the greatest TV ratings in history.
It
is absurd what they're doing. It is fucking absurd.
Well, are the other leagues boosting theirs too? Because theirs are already not that good.
Well, they did what's called big data and panel. It used to be only panel, but yada yada yada. So everything but the NFL took a big hit when they went to this new methodology, and the NFL magically exploded even further. And then people after a while said, "Yo, what is going on here?" Because either your old ratings were full of shit or your new ratings are full of shit because everybody's dropping. And then they said, "Oh, we made a mistake," and and now they're back to normal.
Turns out they're full of shit.
Yeah.
My favorite is back in the late 2000s. Oh, this is the lowest rated World Series ever. This is the lowest rated NBA Finals ever. Well, yes, because we got smartphones now and we got other ways to consume.
Well, that's another thing.
Info.
It's such bad because so many people consume in other ways, which I don't like necessarily, but people might watch clips on X or, obviously YouTube, anywhere. Younger people get their sports in, condensed fashion on new apps and things like that.
Yeah, like on TikTok.
Yeah. And, how do you gauge that? And they haven't found the way. But what's shocking to me is advertisers still pay on these Nielsen numbers, and they're getting it's legitimate fraud out in the open. They're setting advertising rates on bullshit numbers.
But they can't figure out how to crack that 18 to 34-year-old demographic.
Well, Jenga might have been generous.
It is dominoes. It is.
I mean, I think we'll see what ends up happening. All right, Jeff, your final thoughts here today. We got Howie and Nick are set to speak. The combine's kicking off. Give me your final thought here on week number 7, I think it is, Jeff, of the Eagles off season.
The underwear Olympics are beginning, boys.
Yeah. Are you excited to talk about small hands and arm length?
Yeah, just as excited as I am to break down every Bryce Harper at bat in spring training.
Yeah, well, that's getting started too. A lot of people love going down there. Are you going down to Clearwater?
I'll be down there 13th through the 20th.
Very good. Very good. March 13th to the 20th. Good stuff. Love it. All right, Jeff, we appreciate you joining in, man, on the Fritz and Bianculli guest line today. We appreciate it as always. Make sure you guys follow him at Jeff Kerr, PHL, one of the best. We appreciate you doing it. Jeff, thanks for doing it today, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. All right, brother?
Appreciate you, Zander. Hey, John, don't let the Nielsen rings and the TV guides get to your head.
Yeah. TV Guide. I missed the TV Guide.
I do too. Remember when we had to go on the TV Guide channel to figure out what the heck was on?
I remember when you had to go to the TV Guide, the print version, to figure out what the heck was on.
There was before I go, there was I forget who it was yesterday, but it was on X, and some like kid asked, how did people watch games in like the 80s and 90s and know out of town sports? I'm like, you literally had to wait like 20 minutes for that one. Remember when NBC debuted the 10-minute ticker?
Well, I mean, if you go way back, Monday Night Football halftime highlights used to be the biggest thing in the world because nobody got to see the games. So you'd all wait for the halftime highlights of the other games.
Right.
The Miracle on Ice, some people didn't know till 7-8 hours later.
Yeah, I read about that. All right, Jeff. Thanks, brother. We appreciate it.
See you guys.
See you, bud.
Boy, Jeff Kerr. Appreciate Jeff Kerr doing it today. Good show with Jeff Kerr. John, plenty still to get to. We've got about 20 minutes left on the show. I wanted to give you a chance to kind of elaborate on some of the other things that we missed before we got to Jeff. So with Howie and Nick speaking, obviously, and that being the big thing, they spoke to you guys. John, you mentioned something I didn't realize. I thought you had 40 minutes with them both. Did you have 40 minutes individually with each?
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of shit we'll be getting in. I mean, like Jalen Hurts, we didn't even talk about. There's so much going on. They were asked about his fit in the new scheme. We'll get into all this as the week goes on, but
well, I think that's an important one to hit. I mean, Jalen Hurts today.
The other hires, the Josh Grizzards, the Mahafis, the Coopers. I mean, it was a very valuable session, I would say.
We'll start with Jalen Hurts, John. QB1's always the top story in any football city. What did you talk to him about with Jalen Hurts? What did you hear, and what were some of your personal takeaways from it? And then maybe some of the things that they said that you found relevant, important, or worth sharing.
Well, number one to me is pure progression. Nick let that slip. I don't think he wanted to let it slip, but he let that slip. They're going, but that's the way they do it. And if you're going to Shanahan, McVay style, LaFleur style, you're going to pure progression. So they're going to go in that direction.
Now, that's a switch from what they've done?
Yeah, they've been sort of piecemealing it. Sometimes everybody does it a little bit, but
right.
Those guys do it pretty much exclusively. So that's going to be a bit of a change. And then, that's when he was asked about Jalen's fit in the scheme is when he brought in what I have been saying about they've done a lot of good things over the past 4 or 5 years, and you're not going to scrap it all, which I agree with. I think that doesn't make sense. So he said, what's awesome about Jalen is he's shown he can do a lot of things really well. This is Nick Sirianni. That's a sign of a good football player. You may have a scheme and you always want to fit it to the player, but the great thing about great players is they can usually fit any scheme. So if we're saying that we're going to run a little more play action, a little more outside zone, a little more boot action off of that again, those are things that maybe we're saying, but he's super athletic, being able to get stretch read when we're in the gun. He's got a lot of pull on defense that can run the ball the other way. Again, him running has to be a big part of it, in my estimation, or at least the threat. It's the same thing if it's a boot. He's going to have a lot of pull on that with the defense. He could be really productive in the play action pass game. We haven't run as many boots and nakeds here as in the past, so you might see some more boots and nakeds, which is a big Shanahan thing. But I know he's good at those when he does those. because Jalen is the type of player he is. So basically he wants, he's saying he's good, so he's going to fit in any scheme. I'm not that far, but we're going to see how it works. And he flat out said, I'm comfortable that you can tell me whatever system that we're going to put him in, and he's going to be able to do it. So there you have it.
That's interesting. I mean, we'll see.
I don't necessarily agree with it.
I can't tell whether to be optimistic about this offense or just stone cold weary. I don't know. You tell me. I'll take your guidance.
I don't think anybody I mean, I'm operating from the point that they're going to do what works, because that's always been Nick's mindset. So I think the offseason is going to be spent on all this, and we've done it before. It's Groundhog Day to me.
Yeah.
And then they're going to scale back to what they do well. That's what they've done every year. I don't think they're going to change this year. But I think they're hopeful that they can expand and do some things. So I think they're hopeful. And they want to try, and they're going to try. But, as I always go back to Jim Schwartz, off season is for learning. Preseason is for evaluation. Season, preparation to beat your next opponent. Period. That's it. How do you beat insert name?
Right.
I think it's going to be that, because that's what they've always done.
Some of the other coaching staff, John, you mentioned that you talked about with them. We got about 13 or 14 minutes left here on the show today. Some of your takeaways from what they talked about. You mentioned Mahaffey and Parks Frazier and Josh Grizzard. It's obviously an entirely new offensive staff. I mean, for the most part, Parks Frazier was here. He's changed roles. What were some of the takeaways from that conversation with Nick? I assume had more of that conversation than Howie. But what were some of the takeaways that you had from that?
Yeah, well, I think most of it was, you want to give the new guys some people he's more comfortable with, who have experience in similar type of systems. And that's why you had some certain guys being brought in, which is understandable. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It is interesting, obviously Stout being the biggest one, but they wanted to shift running schemes and he wasn't on board with it. So, Howie spoke about Stout as well and said, those two are very close, but, everybody's got a shelf life, and I think you hit the shelf life. And as far as the new guys, I mean, to Howie's point about free agency and shuffling the deck chairs, that's how I kind of feel about coaching. It's like you're changing the chip for change's sake. I mean, is it going to work? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know how anybody can. It's hard enough to evaluate players where you have film and tape and things like that. I don't know how anybody goes out there and sticks their chest out and evaluates assistant coaches. I mean, nobody's got any information other than, what you want to talk about Mahaffey, okay, Tucker Kraft's a good player. I don't, that's like, I always compare coaching to assistant coaches to, they always say what, 10% of the ocean is charted. I don't know, I'm making this up, but very little percent.
I've seen that. Yeah. Only 10%. Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel about assistant coaches. Like, you're seeing such a small part of the picture. Even people like me, such a small part of the picture. Like, how do you gauge them? So I could sit here and tell you, Ryan Mahaffey's going to be great.
What do we know? Yeah. How are you going to know that? Well, it feels like they shuffled the deck chairs, John, not because Nick wanted to, but because it almost feels like you have to, if you don't.
Well, that's the way of doing business in the NFL. That's what I criticize the Eagles for. Everybody does it that way. They're no different than anybody else. But they like to they enjoy the reputation of being forward thinking. They enjoy the reputation of being one of the smarter organizations. And I say, well, in this part of it, you guys are like everybody else. You're just do the same thing as everybody else. You're shuffling deck chairs like everybody else. The whole league does it. Chris Cooper's out in Minnesota. He's in here. Mahaffey's all right. He's Sean Mannion's guy. So I don't know. Green Bay might have wanted him back. Grizzard, another example. He's out in Tampa. He's in here. They're just like everybody else when it comes to assistant coaches. And the mentality is, from my standpoint, look, I get same thing Howie said with free agency. People like new. They want new. And getting Max Crosby is viewed as a splash, whereas re-signing Jaylen Phillips would not be described as a splash. Same thing with coaches. You have successful coaches, done a lot of good, like Jason Michael's not going to be here. Jeff Stoutland, obviously, first and foremost, not going to be here. When you have new and there's excitement and change and Saquon, I'm excited. And everybody's excited. Just shuffling the deck chairs. But I know you were successful with Stout and Jason Michael. I don't know if you're going to be successful with Mahaffey and Chris Cooper. It's interesting. It's a human nature thing. It's interesting. Well, you got to move on. Well, why do you have to move on? Why?
Well, because they didn't reach expectations. That's how it is, John. This is in the microwave league, the microwave society. You don't reach expectations, somebody's got to pay.
But you don't. It's not illegal to be patient.
I agree. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying what my perception.
Well, I only bring that up because the Eagles, like I said, they take pride in the fact that they're forward thinking and everybody thinks they're smart. And I said, well, that's fine. And they deserve that reputation in many areas. They don't deserve that reputation with coaching. They're very impatient, just like everybody else. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean it can't work.
Did you walk out of there feeling better about Parks Frazier, John?
Well, I know it's the same thing. I know it's not me. Me feeling better. I mean, I got a kick out of that.
The thing about Parks Frazier, like the other ones, I agree. I mean, what are you gonna do? But the thing I wondered with Parks Frazier, I'm like, is that really who we think Jalen wanted to become the quarterback coach? I mean, Parks Frazier, the passing game coordinator. That's never, I mean, I don't know. I just see that and I'm like that.
Well, one of the things I admit I got a kick out of, Jeff brought up Reddit, the Reddit conspiracy that Scott Leffler was involved with the positive aspects of the offense. And there were so many people in this little group that would say, they don't even know what's going on. The guys, no, you don't know what's going on. We're the ones talking to the GM for 40 minutes. You don't know what's going on, but they really, really believed it. And then it's like, why didn't they interview Scott Leffler to be offensive coordinator? They had 17 interviews because they had no interest in interviewing Scott Leffler to be the offensive coordinator. He was one and done as the quarterback's coach. As far as why they moved to Parks Frazier, Nick gave I actually asked that question. Nick gave a pretty extensive answer, which was basically, being a bridge between the old and the new. He's got experience in Mike McDaniel's system. He's got experience of what they were doing before. He knows the terminology of both. So it was basically a bridge to get from one to the other. Evidently, he and Jalen have a good relationship, so that's part of it. And
so you think Jalen likes Parks Frazier? He's a Parks Frazier guy,
I guess. I mean, And the guy's been a passing game coordinator. He's been a interim offense. He actually called plays in Indy when Frank got fired. So he's been above quarterbacks coach, but he's never been a quarterbacks coach. But he also played quarterback in college. He was quarterback at the great Murray State football program. So
there you go. I just I get a kick out of that. Jalen gets the ball in Cabo, he's sipping mojitos on his offseason. Hey, we made Parks Frazier the quarterbacks coach. Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I mean, the quarterbacks coach is just like, so they've gone from what, Brian Johnson, Alex Tanney to who am I missing? Before Scott Leffler.
Nussmeier was a
Doug Nussmeier. And obviously it's the same thing. It's the same thing as offensive coordinator.
Who was the first one he had? Tanney? Was that Tanney when he started?
No, Brian Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Well, his first one was Press Taylor.
Right.
With Doug. And then it went to Brian Johnson. And then Brian got the offensive coordinator job, and it went to Alex Tanney, and they failed. And they both got blown out. And Doug came in, and they succeeded, and he left with Kellen. And then they brought in Scott Leffler, and they failed, and he's out. And now it's Parks Frazier. It's the same thing. The guys who succeed got elevated, and the guys who failed because the season failed, they got blown out. So it's no surprise.
Yeah. All right, good show today, John. You the reason I say this is because you stopped the show a little bit ago for some UFL news. Well, how about this for UFL news? The UFL has also announced that 60-plus yard field goals will now be worth 4 points. Now, the reason I say that is not because the NFL is about to adopt that, but you pointed out correctly that the NFL will test rules and things with these other leagues. So now a 60-yarder, which we saw a lot of this year, is worth 4 points in the UFL. Could the NFL adopt that? We will see.
I hope so. I hope not. Sorry. I don't. The NFL's I don't mind it with like the UFL and like have gimmicks because they need gimmicks to draw viewers. But with the NFL, they don't need gimmicks. So I never liked the gimmicky things. And the reason I brought up the tush push is it's so relevant to Eagles fans. I mean, they're gonna ban the tush push. That to me is a larger question of banning pushing. Like I would like pushing banned from offensive football as a whole. Which I hope they eventually do, which would be going back to the old rule, which had been around longer than you were allowed to push for those who are younger.
Which you've been consistent on. You've been calling for that for this entire tenure of the tush push.
Yeah. I just think it's just too big of an advantage for the offense, but they'll disagree with me because offense is down. Just depend. But there's so many unintended. My philosophy: offense is down because defenses have to go in a certain direction, create havoc, and that creates a less exciting game, less aesthetic game. There's unintended consequences for everything. If the defenses felt they could play more coverage, for instance, because they wouldn't be, hampered by so much, the game would look better. But they don't. So it's hell or high water, get to the quarterback or die. And that's a larger discussion. We're at the end of the show, but I could go on for 2.5 hours. You're affecting quarterback health. You're affecting so many things, the ugliness of the game.
Right.
But they just don't think that way. They just, similar to what's the score? How many points? He has 10 sacks, blah, blah, blah. Same thinking.
John, they're looking to boost those faulty Nielsen ratings that you talked about, my friend.
Well, they got their money's worth for those. The NFL's not worried about it.
No, there's not. All right, John. Final thought here on Tuesday's edition of Birds 365. Today brought to you by the great people at Fritz and Bianculli. Guys, give Brian Fritz a call, 215-458-2222. Go to fbesq.com. John, your final thoughts on today's Tuesday edition of Birds 365.
Well, Howie laid out the framework for free agency, so be prepared. Be prepared.
Could be another Timu offseason.
Retention offseason.
Okay, that's what we're dubbing it. The retention off. Well,
I still might dub it Timu, but
Timu part 2. So I saw somebody said so. It's a Wayfair offseason this year.
A little bit. It's going to be a little bit better.
Wayfair, like a slight tick above.
Maybe a Walmart clearance aisle offseason. Maybe slightly above Timu.
The Bed Bath & Beyond closing their operations store sale. All right, John, your final thought here. I think you already gave it, but your final thought one more time here on Birds, and then I'll let you roll.
Yeah, splash could be interior. That's my final thought.
All right, good stuff. John, good show today, my friend. Make sure you guys follow John at JF McMullen. John, we'll catch you tomorrow, my friend. Thank you, brother.
All right, see y'all.
All right, thanks, John. There's Johnny Mack. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. Great show today. Great stuff from Jeff Kerr. Great stuff from the great people of JAKIB Nation today. A lot of excitement in the air. At least I feel excitement in the air. I'm ready to get the new league year kicked off. All right, we're getting closer here. We have the combine this week. Howie and Nick are going to speak today. All right, which is dope. I mean, very excited. The reason I think it's dope is not because I'm excited to listen to Nick babble. That's not why. But the new league year is starting. So you're going to get the offseason. We're going to get free agency. We're going to get the draft. We're going to get all of the things that happen that will create what is the 2026 Eagles football season. And we will kick off that football season with our great tailgate home opener season event. All right. You guys have been calling for this for a long time, man. You have. And I'm gonna figure out how to make it happen in terms of normally I'm so focused on game days to make the shows happen, right? I got the pregame show, the postgame show. Those are big view days for us. They're very important shows for us. But we're making it happen. All right. I might be doing the show from down there and then jumping in the car and rushing home so I can make it home for the halftime and the postgame show. But we are going to make it happen. We got the JAKIB tailgate. Guys, this is a pretty kick-ass event. So my original understanding of it was that it would be an open thing type of event where people would be able to come and then the people who paid would have their game tickets. It's going to be a little different than that. It will definitely be an unbelievable, but we're going to have full food, like for the people who pay everything. I already spoke with Krause about it. I'm going to do some extra things as well. I'm going to see if I can pick up a sponsor for the event and get everybody who showed to get some free JAKIB merch or something like that. I want to do something, more for the people than just go to the game and leave. I want it to feel like a JAKIB event for you guys that we put on. And I always like to take care of the great people who support our channel and support the company and support, what we do. And that's obviously all of you guys. And I've always tried to express my appreciation for that. But I think the event will be a good opportunity, one, to meet people, and also show my appreciation for you guys, show our appreciation, and then go kick off the Eagles year, man. It's a big, the home opener is obviously the main event. It's not my dumbass, but I do appreciate everybody doing it. Guys, when I started the show, though, we had 29 slots remaining. All right. Now, if you want in, you can text Krause right now, 267-261-3428. Text him Birds365. He'll give you the square link to get your ticket. We're doing everything courtesy of the great people at Savvy Seats. So this really isn't possible by Savvy. We went to Savvy and we're like, look, we want to do this event, but it can't just be we're selling tickets. That's not what I want to do. We want to get the people of JAKIB Nation together, and we want to do a kick-ass event for them. And this is what they get. This is kind of what we worked out with them. So big shout out to Savvy Seats for doing this. We had 29 available of the 100 when I started the show today. All right. When I started the show today, I got a text in the middle of the show. He got well over 12 text messages. Now, each person can claim up to 2. So if 12 all bought and they got 2 each, well, we're down to 5. we're not, we're low. Slager, I know you're a season ticket guy. So Slager, you wouldn't need a ticket. Slager, just do me a favor. If you want to go, I don't want to close the door to you, Slager, because you do not need a ticket. Shoot a text and say, I already got game tickets. How can I attend the event? We'll figure out something for you, dude. We're not going to, Slager's at the front door. This is bodyguards in. Sorry, Slager. You can't get in here. You're a season ticket holder. I'm not doing all that, all right? I'm not doing all that. I want you there, Slager. Remember, I didn't get a chance. Slager's we're within 5 feet of each other at the parade. And I never even met the guy. 5 feet of each other. He's at the parade hanging out with Flex and all the people there, Akbar and everybody there. So I got to meet you, Slag. But I do appreciate everybody. A lot of good things, man. I thought the conversation from Nick and Howie was pretty good, pretty interesting. I do find it. Howie is definitely trying to push people away or push the thought process away from that he's in control of the coaching staff and stuff like that. You heard John say that, and I'm sure he's going to say it as well. Howie, that is today when he speaks, but he's really tried to, all right, that's not my lane. Don't think because I'm a great GM, I now have control of every part of the team. And you can tell Howie's kind of had a concerted effort to write that narrative, which is fair. I mean, if he doesn't want to, Howie's not looking to fall on the sword for the hiring of Kevin Patullo. So we will see what happens. But good stuff, folks. I'm ready to run. I'm ready for the Eagle season. I mean, the offseason just started. I'm already ready for the season. I'm already ready for the season. All right? I'm already ready for this damn season. We got a lot of good things coming though. March 11th is the start of the new league year, I want to say. NFL new league year. March 11th, 4 p.m. I told you. Free agency signing period officially begins March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. The legal tampering period is March 9th at noon. So if you guys remember, I'm pretty sure I remember. You guys have to correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm pretty sure when we signed Saquon Barkley 2 off seasons ago, I'm pretty sure it happened not when free agency started. I thought the news came out when the legal tampering period started. That's when kind of most of the deals break. I'm pretty sure that's how it went. All right. So going to be good stuff. All right. We'll see. Tony got his ticket. Tony, love it, man. Love it, brother. So Tony got you a ticket. Good shit. Good stuff. Tony got his ticket. Appreciate all you guys doing it. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody, or at least the people who show up. And if you don't show up, you're a bed bug. How about that? All right. How about that? I'll use the little snuff line that I love Little Snuff. I find that guy to be awesome. Just an awesome creator, an awesome dude. I love South Philly Italians. I always have, man. They're the freaking best. When I went to the prep and down in North Philly on Girard, and a lot of kids there obviously from South Philly. Those are always my favorite people, man. Just raw and real, So gotta love that. But we will see how it goes. Appreciate everybody being here. I got an exciting call coming up today, so I won't have a lot of time on Zander time today. I won't have a ton of time. Exciting call though today. So hopefully I can get some things worked out and keep rolling. Jay Fizzle got his 2 tickets. Love it, Jay Fizzle. Appreciate it, man. Abe, I think you said you got your tickets. Jason A-Team, I think you got your tickets. Tony, you got a ticket. Big Mike, did you get your ticket? Hopefully everybody gets their tickets that wants to show up. But once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, the thing about the deal is it's so good. Savvy Seats was like, I can't do unlimited here. I can't do unlimited. So, Doug Rasmussen, good point. Doug Peterson today on the National Football Show. So guys, tune in on that. All right. Tune in on that. Doug Peterson rolling in today on the National Football Show. Gotta love it, man. Big Sills, he has an unbelievable Rolodex, an unbelievable guest list, and he certainly delivers the goods. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Doug Peterson today. That should be a great interview. So definitely stay tuned for that on the channel. Appreciate all you guys, man. Any questions, shoot me an email or anything if you want to talk about it or whatever the case may be. Zander at jakibsports.com. That's the email. It's not changed. It changed last year. So if you have the old email, don't email that one anymore. Zander at jakibsports.com. All right. Shoot me an email if you need to get in touch or whatever the case may be. Super appreciative of all you guys. I got to run. I got some prep to do. All right. Big prep. Exciting things, though. Exciting things happening for the great people of JAKIB Nation. Exciting things happening for JAKIB Sports, the company. Exciting things happening for me personally in my career and as we keep building here. So a lot of good stuff going on. A lot of good things happening. You know what they say? The future is bright. Do you feel it? I feel it. Do you guys feel it? The future is bright. I love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
EAGLES. Eagles.